Today's first team that we'll go through is New York Islanders. And Islanders was, of course, a long time laughingstock in the NHL when they played on the bottom of their own division and bottom of the Eastern Conference and bottom of the whole league. But now during the last 2 years, they've jumped from the bottom to the playoffs and almost top of the league, especially with the good playoff performances. How do you see, Tommy, is this team made for playoffs, or will they have good chances to get some success during the regular season as well?
Yeah, it's the influence of Barry Trotz for sure. He came in a couple of years ago and instantly changed the course of the whole organization. And the team is really hard working. They're extremely hard to play against. Maybe not that much of a star caliber players, but all around very balanced team. And like you said, the playoffs have been the triumphant show of Islanders. They almost went on to beat Tampa already last season in the conference finals and go to the Stanley Cup finals, but they were this short at the time. They are maybe not better this year. The division is really hard, but I think they are going to be the challengers in the Eastern Division. How does it look in our simulations for the past couple of seasons with the Islanders?
Islanders overall, when we think about averages during the last 3 seasons, basically there were one great, one good, and one okay season in that span. They won almost 55% of their home games and 49 of their road games, so pretty average numbers in NHL. From the betting point of view, total bets on the road have been quite profitable based on our simulations, so 1,620 profit out of those bets. And there has been quite a bit expected value, especially in their home games. So 2 out of 3 home games you have had expected value for Islanders, but that hasn't resulted any great betting performance. So even though there is value to bet, it would be good to check what kind of other circumstances there are, and especially when there is a back-to-back game at home, also a little bit on the road, but especially home, that has been very profitable for a betting point of view. So almost $500 profit out of those games, and highlight of their categories here is definitely this back-to-back home game win percentage that is 78.6%. So whenever there is a visitor coming to second game or new team coming to hot Islanders team, looks like they are a bit like old engine that requires one game to warm up and then they are in their top form. You mentioned that their division is tough. How their strong and gritty playing style will fit to the other teams in the Central Division.
That sounds, what you were saying sounds a lot like Barry Trotz's team. So they're like an old engine and they're grinding their way to victory. But the division is really tough. I found it a bit surprising that the simulation set Islanders this low, but then when you take a look at the numbers, it's really tight. So basically the top teams can all be within, let's say, 5-6 points. So it's a tough thing for Islanders. They're now joined with, of course, Capitals, Penguins, Flyers. Bruins were added instead of Columbus now. So it will be a very tough 4 to beat, and probably some other teams have done better as well, like the Challengers, Devils, Sabres, and maybe Rangers as well. So it's understandable that Islanders are this low, but they have the chance to upset for sure For Barry Trotz's team, the playoff style is the best. So if there is a lot of these back-to-back-to-back style things, I'm sure the old engine will do really well against their divisional opponents. But how does it look in our simulations, the divisional games for the Islanders?
Yeah, I think they have all chances to overperform our simulations because when we check these divisional opponents, basically Boston is only one that have beaten them like pretty badly. So there has been 9 games during the last 3 years against Boston, and win percentage is 11%. So they have won 1 game out of 9. But every other team, including Pittsburgh, Washington, Philadelphia, Islanders have been winning more than losing against these teams, and even more with Buffalo and Rangers as well as Devils. So they have a good track record against these teams in the new division.
That's a very interesting point that they've been actually winning the better teams in there. So there might be some value then in the betting the winning the division. But let's have a look at that a little later. The roster changes are very minor this year for the Islanders. They sent Thomas Greiss away and took Ilya Sorokin from Chetska Moscow, though they have a Russian tandem between the pipes. Semyon Varlamov is continuing, probably the best keeper in outside of NHL for like 5 years. Ilya Sorokin is now joining, so they should be fine defensively with the goaltenders. And of course, with Barry Trotz, the defense is the key point, and it is very full of quality. Ryan Pollock is elite level. Nick Leddy has learned to defend as well under Trotz, so it's a very solid two-way group they have. A little bit lacking maybe in puck moving skills, not a lot of scoring help coming from the D, but they make up for it with a really deep offense. There is 6 players can score 50 points in a normal season, of course now a little bit less, but it's a very deep one for the bottom up, so a lot of potential to score points. And Islanders usually don't need a lot of goals to win games, so it does look quite good for them on that regard. Of course, the situation with the potential number 1 centerman Matthew Barzal is still in the air. They are negotiating a new contract, but we'll see what's happening. But I'm sure that they try to do everything to keep him in the lineup. But we'll see what they're gonna do with that. How about the season predictions? How have we been doing with the Islanders in the past couple of seasons?
Islanders have been maybe a bit difficult to predict, or we have underestimated their performance because last year the line was 92.5 points. We predicted under. They got in this season that was cut short. Hold on, take the numbers here. So they got 80 points out of 68 games, so it's a bit so would they reach 92.5 points with their last 14 games, because they lost last 7, and they were maybe warming up for the playoffs with cruising through the last games of regular season, but still similar kind of tendency we've had 2 years ago. We predicted under. They went over, and that was the first season with Barry Trotz, so he really made difference there. But also 3 years ago, our prediction was that they would not reach the playoffs, but beat the line by 1 point. They didn't reach the playoffs and were quite a bit lower than 88.5 points. So difficult to predict season futures, and I think here we need to wait until we got some references from the odds makers. But you mentioned that division is tough. What kind of odds we have for the Islanders?
Yeah, Islanders are actually 4th in the division by the odds makers, so they have odds of plus 500 to win the division. Of course, it's a bit of a long shot, but with those odds, might be worth a try, especially when they've been beating the better team constantly in the past. So not much has changed in Islanders, so they have everything in place to be a contender actually. So it will be very interesting to see. Stanley Cup odds, of course, a bit longer. It's 3,000, so they are in just behind the top teams odds-wise there. So I'd say that Islanders have a great chance to make the playoffs and even win the division if everything goes well. And if they go through to the playoffs, we've seen that Barry Trotz is a magician working there, so everything is possible. So I don't know. You tell me, should we place a bet on winning the Stanley Cup?
I think so far we haven't placed too many bets for those teams that we have gone through. So maybe this would be one small bet for both winning the division and also then winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, a brave double there.
And I remember that we gave one the Islanders jersey in one of the exhibitions to one great slapshot shooter from Sweden. So he would be very happy if this would happen.
Yeah, he would wear that shirt all the time.
Very good.
All
but
right.
We'll see how it goes, and hopefully Islanders will overperform this time as they have done during the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, let's wait what happens.